G'day, welcome to the Chicken Channel. We're about to do a recipe that's probably the one that's most done incorrectly, in my experience. It's a carbonara recipe, right? But we're going to make it into a chicken carbonara. The carbonara part will be absolutely authentic. So if you're interested in doing carbonara the authentic way, watch closely. First of all, we need to have some sort of cured pork to flavour the carbonara, the spaghetti we're going to do. And probably the best, most easily available one is this, a good pancetta, right? So I'll use a combination of this, but I'll also, in fact, I'll start cutting it now. The way you cut it is into these little lardon type things, all right? And that'll do for the time being. That fat content is so important to this dish. The meat has its own particular flavour, and that is a cured prosciutto style thing, except from the belly. But we're going to move across to this piece here, which is a guanciale, right? And the guanciale is the pig's cheek. And that is what's traditionally used. Now, it's very difficult to come by, unless, of course, you're a pig, you will have two. But if you're going to make this dish, very few butchers will have this. Maybe a specialised Italian butcher will have it. Look out for it, because it's absolutely fantastic. It looks like it's just fat, doesn't it? But believe it or not, there's a structure in there, and it does crisp up. And we're going to use some of this, along with the pancetta, to cook up 350 grams of dried spaghetti, right? That's the weight, 350 grams dried spaghetti. And what we need to do to get this cheek ready is slowly but surely render off some of the fat as it cooks down. Do you know what? As I cook this, I'm reminded of Homer Simpson. The episode when Lisa was talking to her father Homer, and Homer was telling Lisa that he was going to go off meat. He was going to be vegetarian and get all healthy. And he said, but look, I'll just have I'll just have crackling. And Lisa said, Dad, that comes from the pig. Oh, well, that's no problems. I'll just have pork sandwiches. Dad, that comes from the pig. No, don't worry about that. I'll just have bacon. Dad, that comes from the pig. And then Homer started laughing and said, oh, Lisa, the pig, this mystical, magical animal where all these fantastic foods come from. Well, Homer is my food hero. Really is, I've got to tell you. But the pig is. The pig is this mystical, magical animal. The most amazing foods come from. The sausages, the charcuterie, the cheek. Amazing, really is terrific. Now what we've got here is a little bit of olive oil to start the process, but as it cooks, it'll cook gently. It'll start to crisp up and render. Could take about 12 minutes, which is what we need to cook our pasta. Let's talk pasta. First of all, plenty of boiling water, plenty, and salt it. Don't put oil in there, it's not needed. The pasta we've chosen is spaghetti, but also, as a spaghetti, it's a coarse one, right? If you run your thumb along there, it's coarse, a bit like a guitar string. And whereas the ones that are really, really smooth come from a different sort of a machine, a Teflon machine. It punches the spaghetti out, it's really smooth. Less sauce will cling to the smooth one. So the coarse ones are usually much, much better. More expensive, hey, it's worth it. Using cheek, come on. In with our pasta and give it a stir immediately because it can clump. 350 grams for this particular recipe. Back to the rolling boil, and we'll deal with that accordingly. Now, if you look closely into this pan, you'll see that some of the cheek is becoming translucent. See that? And if that's one you can see there, that's what's starting to happen. It's rendering the fat, becoming translucent, and those flavours really are amazing. Over to the rest of the dish. You've got to be with Homer on this one because you're not trying to lose weight. I mean, ordinarily, the guys will vouch for this. I eat nothing but healthy food. If something's got a fat content in it, or it's not quite healthy, that's not me. Healthy, healthy. But every now and then I'll splurge. I've got 4 egg yolks and 1 egg in here. Okay? So I'm whisking that up. And dropping into that half a cup of finely grated pecorino romano, okay? And break all that up. That is the rich flavour that's going to support this, and that's the whole lot. That's a little bit of pepper, and we're just waiting for everything else to come together. I heard that this was a dish that originated around Rome at the time when things were lean, and they only had eggs and pasta and found a bit of bacon. Boom, put it together, became a classic. The chicken breast we're using, of course, is Leonica or Bannockburn. And what I did is earlier I poached it in the same water that I'm using for the pasta. Poached it so it's just barely cooked, and cutting it very, very thinly. We're going to add this to the whole dish. Only poach for about 10 minutes and let it rest. Now, this recipe, you could use 2 chicken breasts if you wish to make it a rather substantial meal, but 1 is fine. Slice nice and fine. Really, it's a pretty quick question of draining pasta, checking this is cooked, and then putting it all together. See you in a few minutes. Okay, pasta's al dente. Save some pasta water. May come in useful later. Switch off the heat, over to the sink, and drain the rest. This is very good for your skin. I'm 87 years old. Right, there's our pasta. Here's our pasta water, and over to the egg we go. Straight in. Right, give it a bit of a toss. Now, our guanciale is ready. Switch off the heat, throw in our chicken, just perfectly cooked. Give it a stir, and let's go over to our spaghetti. In we go. Give that bit of a toss. I'm excited. I love this sort of food. Now, mix this through, and we should have a wettish sort of a dish, right? Because the heat of the actual spaghetti is cooking off our egg. Pasta water, just to get the texture we want, right? It can't be all glued into one lump. It's got to have a bit of moisture. Keep adjusting the moisture backwards and forwards, and then put a generous twist onto the centre of your plate. Sprinkle some more cheese over that. That is classic. And with the Leonica chicken, even better again.